Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Police are currently searching for a Northwest man who fell overboard at Boundary Bay near Liawini. A report was made around 12:30 this afternoon when a bystander witnessed him fall from an aluminium boat. Marine police, local community members and other vessels in the area are helping in the search. The rescue helicopter has also been dispatched. The Royal Hobart Hospital has been placed at Code Yellow following reports of increased patient numbers. The Nurses Union is disappointed staff on leave are being recalled to deal with the demand.
A strained health system under more pressure. Code Yellow declared at the Royal Hobart Hospital due to what it's calling an internal emergency.
It's certainly as a result of the Christmas period, as a result of the strong winds.
The heatwave and COVID, also other factors. Yesterday afternoon, Public Health sent out an alert saying the hospital was implementing associated protocols to manage the sustained significant demand for services, with staff being recalled from leave to help alleviate the situation. The Nurses Union and Labor asking the state government to establish a workforce plan to prevent further staffing shortages. Union members having to cancel holiday and travel arrangements.
We'll be seeking an urgent meeting in the new year around that to ensure that not only we learn from the lessons of this Christmas but also from previous COVID waves as well.
They've had contingency plans for other parts of the health system, but you can't run a hospital without staff.
The state government defending the process is already in place.
The management of the Royal Hobart Hospital is managing this carefully.
Meanwhile, the state government has announced a review into the bushfire alert system after it was revealed a number of Rosebery residents weren't sent a text message to evacuate.
The minister's made that clear that there will be a review. That is important, that you learn from these experiences.
We support the need for an independent, transparent inquiry that can look at why that is the case.
A date for the review has not been set. Mark Zita, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, Rosebery's MMG mine has confirmed some of its power connections have been damaged in this week's bushfire. The company says repairs are underway with power expected to be restored by Monday, allowing the mine to return to full operation. Until then, it's working through other options such as the use of generators. Tuesday's fire destroyed just under 4 hectares of land on the edge of town. Thousands have once again filled Hobart's waterfront, boosting sales for local traders as we approach what could be a record summer. Some are struggling to keep up ahead of even more holidaymakers hitting our shores over the coming days.
The hustle and bustle across Hobart's picking up momentum. Silver Spoon Ice Creams had a double scoop of sales.
I reckon in 2 days we've had what we expected in 7 days. So I've got my sister at home at the moment making ice cream.
They're not the only ones busy at work this time of year, given there's a 30% jump in tourism to the Apple Isle over the summer months. Many of those are hitting up local stores, including at the popular Taste of Summer festival, which saw 9,000 foodies through the gates yesterday. There's even a new attraction opening to entice the little ones.
We've got a beautiful space at the front of the site on the lawns on Salamanca. It's called Welcome to Little Hobart. It's a family area where kids 12 years and under can go and do lots of activities.
But the influx creates some issues. Staff shortages are still proving a problem.
We know we've got a long-term challenge there. Again, operators will do the best they can over the next 3 or 4 months, and I'm sure they'll get through it. What we'll see though is a bit of burnout, I suspect, by the end of this summer.
While the tourism sector's already preparing to welcome even more holidaymakers, with 3 cruise ships planned to dock on New Year's Eve.
The challenge with the cruise sector is just getting the numbers right and making sure that they come when we don't already have large significant numbers in the States.
With hopes the busy season extends all year round. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
The River Derwent has come alive with colour as boats from 3 races descended on the finish line in Hobart. Among those docking was the winner of the Melbourne to Hobart, whose journey to the finish line was longer than most other competitors.
A warm welcome for a crew who've battled more than the weather.
Everyone ready for Maritimo coming in?
Maritimo this year's Melbourne to Hobart winner. The final stretch this morning proving frustrating, with the fickle nature of the Derwent holding them up.
It was probably one of the hardest conditions I'd sailed in had a few dramas ourselves. We'd kicked up a massive amount of kelp which stopped the boat.
Also battling the authorities. They were due to race in the Sydney Hobart, but a late ruling made them ineligible. Forced to sail from the Gold Coast to Melbourne, the victory was vindication.
So there is a God, yes. One door shuts, another one opens.
Hobart today a sailing mecca. Boats were flowing up the river as winds became favourable this afternoon. Those sailing the Sydney Hobart also continuing to finish.
We expected a bad night last night. It wasn't as bad as it was going to be. All the boats managed it very well.
First day beautiful, second day a bit scary.
Large crowds gathering in the race village as Constitution Dock continued filling up. Locals and sailors mingling with each other as crews swapped tales of what they endured.
The last 4 or 5 hours, we copped the southwesterly and across Storm Bay.
4 in the morning on the 28th, we were going pretty quick, pretty hairy conditions.
Also proving to be a family affair.
My dad and my younger brother are out there at the moment, so it'll be a bit of a family thing once they come in.
While happy to reach land, the lure of the ocean remains strong.
It's the challenge, not only of the race, but the preparedness and all sorts of things.
But for now, it's time to relax.
We'll be visiting the local establishments and having a scallop pie. Should we be passing through Customs House perchance?
I wasn't going there, but seeing you suggested we might do that, yes.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
The driver has suffered serious injuries after their car crashed into a house in Launceston late this afternoon. It happened near Boland and Lawrence Street, the driver smashing through a fence between the house and a hardware store. Motorists are being asked to avoid the area. It's a happy new year for Beer Fest organisers, with ticket sales tracking strongly for the big event. Organisers have begun setting up stalls and stages for the celebration of the year as Launceston prepares to party with friends, family and fireworks.
Bringing in the new year with a bang. With beers, bubbles and beats.
We've got something for everyone. So we've got craft beer, cider, seltzers, masterclasses, comedy shows, we've got live music.
Party preparations for Beerfest are in full swing, with up to 10,000 punters expected along the waterfront of Launceston's Royal Park.
What I love is that it's a truly family-friendly event, from the children's activities that kick off at 4 o'clock through to the children's fireworks at 9:30.
While the big kids' fireworks get cracking at midnight.
Ticket sales are going extremely well. We do get about a 50% interstate tourist attraction, so lots coming from New South Wales and Queensland.
With their dollars spilling over into the local economy.
That flows on to hotels, restaurants, bars, because everyone stays at least a couple of nights in Launceston, so it really is a destination city this year.
East Coast rockers Luca Brasi will headline the event, performing the perfect tunes to play out the year. And you've got your party shirt on. How are you going to party?
I'm ready to party.
Partying like it's 2023. McKenna Bailey, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, Legacy Tasmania has been given a funding boost from the state government as part of the organisation's centennial year. $25,000 will go towards the distribution of a history book and events when the Legacy Torch Relay visits the state.
The generous donation by the Tasmanian government are going to help us spread that word and spread the knowledge of what Legacy is all about.
Legacy Australia started right here in Tasmania, in fact in Hobart. Thanks to Major General John Gellibrand.
The relay begins in Europe next year during Anzac commemorations. There's $100 million on the line for one lucky Powerball winner in tonight's lotto draw. News agencies across the state were packed to the brim, hopeful the winning ticket might just come from Tasmania.
Tonight could be the last chance for one lucky Tasmanian to become a multi-millionaire before the year is out.
This $100 million jackpot is the third biggest jackpot we've seen so far this year, and it's the last Powerball draw of 2022.
News agencies across the state witnessed a last-minute scramble of eager locals keen to throw their hat in the ring, hoping to secure a portion of the highly sought-after fortune. Many, like Salamanca News Agency, hopeful the winner will be from Tassie, given none of this year's 19 Division 1 winners were from our state.
We're due. We've had
We've had a few Division 1 winners between our two stores, but we're actually due for one, so hopefully this weekend, or tonight or Saturday, yeah.
Some of the most common winning numbers from this year were 2, 7, 9 and 17, while some of the least lucky were in the early 30s. But there's no doubt it's still anyone's game. And it seems everyone has a different theory about how they'd spend their riches.
Maybe get a boat, yeah, stay on an island. Yeah, and just do nothing really.
Get a kitten.
On my wife, of course.
Powerball entries close at 7:30 tonight, with the winners to be announced soon after. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Greens leader Cassie O'Connor says her party has spent 2022 at the forefront of the fight for integrity and accountability. In the third of our 4-part series looking back at this year's political headlines, the Greens leader lamented a lack of action while continuing her calls for stricter COVID measures.
For Cassie O'Connor, there are 2 big issues which dominated 2022.
We're a state that's been blighted by COVID, 209 families and friendship circles are grieving. Tens of thousands of people have been infected with this virus.
O'Connor has campaigned for COVID control, despite her views being labelled extremist by those across the aisle.
We've had a government that for the past year has unleashed a dangerous virus on the oldest, fastest ageing population in Australia with the highest level of chronic disease and disability.
The other is the Commission of Inquiry into child sexual abuse in institutional settings.
I think a lot of Tasmanians have had a sense for a long time that there's something wrong with the way the state treats children and young people.
Delivering an emotional speech during Parliament's apology and revealing her own connection.
I've known and loved victims who did not survive, including my beautiful baby sister Christy. Today I honour her life too. Parliament's job now is to make sure that the Commission of Inquiry report is adopted and funded and that there's transparency about how government is responding to those recommendations.
Accountability and integrity matters have been their focus during Parliament.
Can you confirm you told the execs from JBS and Cook that we have a 10-year salmon expansion plan? It's not going to be popular. I'm here to tell you we'll back your industry all the way.
Unearthing conflicts of interest in the Liberals' Local Community Facilities Fund.
I don't really understand why they'd want to keep being so dishonest about it unless they know that the whole thing is shifty and fails the sniff test.
Also passing their first bill in 8 years, expanding whistleblower rights for those with information about MPs. A bill restoring the House of Assembly to 35 seats passed Parliament this year. 7-member electorates are likely to help the chances of the Greens and independents into the future. Despite self-interest, O'Connor maintains it's also what's right.
Government has all the responsibilities of any state like New South Wales, Queensland, Victoria, and they've been trying to do it on a tiny town cabinet.
Hoping next year brings leadership on an Aboriginal treaty.
It's now a year since Professors Warner and McCormack handed down their landmark report, Pathway to Truth-Telling and Treaty. Not much has happened.
Laying down her challenge for 2023. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
All the racing action at the Devonport Carnival is in full swing. Samuel Washington took out top honours in the under-17 wheel race, with Nicholas Broxton coming in second. Tonight's big draw card is between Tasmanian star Stuart McSwain and Commonwealth Games gold medalist Ollie Hoare. They battle it out in the mile at 8:45 tonight. Moments ago, Celestial was declared the overall winner of the Sydney Hobart. It survived a challenge from the crew of Enterprise, which turned back to help stricken yacht Koa after breaking their rudder. The decision cost them 90 minutes and any chance to make a run for the overall victory. Celestial lost last year's race after incurring a penalty. As you heard earlier, Maritimo has taken out line honours in the Melbourne to Hobart. After reaching the start line just 24 hours before the beginning, the vessel crossed in 2 days, 1 hour and 22 minutes. Organisers are now looking to the future, considering a massive change to next year's race.
It will make Tasmania the largest mark of any course. So you either go east or you can go west, decide what you want to do when you go out the heads and see who gets here first.
Meanwhile, fork in the road cruised to line honours victory in the Launceston to Hobart race. The local yacht crossing the finish line in 2 days, 4 hours and 56 minutes. The Jack Jumpers' festive series of matches continues to roll on. The squad flew out of Hobart today ahead of their clash with arch nemesis Sydney. 5th place Tasmania beat the Kings 2 weeks ago, but have struggled to gain any consistency this season, an area the team says needs to be addressed.
There'll be some small adjustments based on how the Kings play and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it's how we play and how we bring our brand of basketball to the court.
Our concern is just ourselves, really, at the end of the day, of trying to make improvements and trying to get consistent throughout an entire game.
Tip-off is at 7:30 tomorrow night. And Longford trainer John Blacker is aiming for win number 6 at his home cup this Sunday. The Longford Cup's first public barrier draw at the Queen's Arms Hotel saw Blacker's Argyle Beach draw barrier 2, while Swoop Dog will jump from gate 9 in his 3rd race since a recent spell.
When he gets to a mile plus, he's a pretty handy horse, and I expect him to run really well and be hard to beat.
The Longford Cup has been running since 1845, 16 years longer than the Melbourne Cup. And how wonderful to have such a classic country meet held right here in Tassie. Kim?
Oh, you're certainly right there. Very much an annual tradition. Thank you very much, McKenna. Good evening. 23 in Launceston today, 20 across Hobart and Burnie, and 19 in Devonport. 23 across Bushy Park and Ouse, Flinders Island 21 and 19 in Strahan. Cloud developed inland about the north today with partly cloudy conditions elsewhere. Looking further out, low pressure systems over WA and Queensland produced lots of cloud over the northern half of the country. Tomorrow, showers are developing about the north and east, fine elsewhere. East to northeasterly winds tomorrow, 15 to 20 knots, swells up to 2.5 metres in the west and south and below 1 metre in the north. A strong wind warning is current for the far northwest coast and central north. Tomorrow's forecast now, Hobart and Campania becoming cloudy, 24 in Huonville. In the north, cloudy across Launceston and Devonport, 24 in Georgetown. Burnie and Wynyard tomorrow, cloudy, 23 in Strahan. 20 across St Helens and Swansea and 23 in Port Arthur. The UV forecast is extreme 11s across the state. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast now, Saturday showers more likely in the afternoon. Sunday showers about the north and west with possible thunderstorms in the southwest. And Monday showers about the west and south with possible thunderstorms. Capital cities 31 and sunny in Perth tomorrow. Adelaide 28 and a shower or 2 in Sydney. And currently Hobart sunny and 18, Launceston 20 and Devonport mostly sunny and 18. That's all in weather, Kim. Thank you very much, Jackie, and that is all your news for now. Back later with updates. Thanks for your company this evening. Good night.